p.m. We'll begin with roll call.
Juan Cifuentes.
Dan Barrero.
Saul Olivas.
Jennifer Norell.
Jaitza Martinez.
Amy Engel. Is there any public comment?
No public comment.
Okay. That brings us right to the first presentation, and that is the Roland School Improvement Plan. Presenting on behalf of their school are Dr. Juan Corona, Principal, and Ms. Stephanie Schmessing, Assistant Principal.
Good evening. My name is Dr. Juan Corona. I'm excited to be here. This is my first time up, so I'm excited. With me is the amazing Miss Stephanie Schmessing. We are excited to be here. A lot of great things are happening at Rollins, so I'm happy to share with you. For this school year, we had 55 of our students meet on the math NWA MAP assessment for math, 41.6 met for our English reading, and 44.9 met for the growth target in Spanish reading. We made an average daily attendance of 92% this year.
There we go. I'll be talking about our attendance. Our attendance goal was to maintain an average daily attendance rate of 95%, and we hit at 92% this year. Our plans for next year are to kind of continue the good things that we were doing, that we were seeing have positive effects. So we want to continue to utilize attendance data to drive decision-making and determine what individual support students and families need. We want to increase meaningful daily communication with these families to figure out how we can problem solve getting the kids in the building. What's the block? What can we do? How can we help? And as far as ways to celebrate the kids that are there every day and doing great things, we want to continue with our quarterly celebrations and grade level competitions to kind of keep it fun. And this one too. As far as social emotional learning, our goal was to have a reduction of 10% of our office discipline referrals, specifically focusing on reducing referrals for our children with disabilities. With our regular office referrals, we came close to hitting that mark, but we did meet that with our children with disabilities. So that was a big win for us to make sure that those IEP kids are getting the supports that they need and that we're able to provide them with the structures and SEL that they need to succeed. As far as our action steps moving forward, we want to make sure that every student is using the second step curriculum. They're getting that every day with fidelity from their teachers. And we feel that the more that that's implemented and the more they have access to that, the better off they'll be behaviorally, social, emotionally, all of it will come together for us. We're going to continue with our school-wide assemblies and teaching and reviewing behavior expectations and continue with our fun challenges based on the data, figuring out which goals we want to work towards every month and kind of playing it with the kids to kind of challenge them to do better. We focus on both of these things off with our parent coffees as well, the attendance and the SEL, kind of bringing parents into the loop and helping them understand what we're doing, why it's important, why they should care, things like that.
And one of the things I want to point out here is our students participating in extracurriculars. We did have a third place finish for softball, second place for soccer, then first place for volleyball, and then our defending cheerleading champions won again. So we're very excited that the students are participating, they're involved, wonderful coaches. So we're excited to continue that as well for next year. Whoa. Okay. All right. Another goal for us was by February of 2024 that 60% of Rollins Elementary students will meet or exceed their expected growth target in both reading and math as measured by the MAP assessment. We came in very close with math. We were at 55%, and our combined reading for Spanish and English was at 43%. Our Spanish was higher, so we're excited that our dual language program students are exhibiting those strong Spanish language skills. Very excited. Third grade did a wonderful job. So we want to continue that momentum as we roll up to fourth grade with dual language. We want to continue again to monitor and review data in our teams, our ILT, SLT teams. We want teacher implementation of research-based strategies that support students' academic language proficiency growth. This year, we had 21 students exit on Access, which is fantastic. We're excited that, again, our students are displaying their language growth targets. We also want to monitor student data to gauge student progress. And we want to start this Rollins is Reading initiative to promote reading for all students. I remember having my teachers instill a passion for reading as a young student, so I want to bring that to our students. I want to have literacy nights with our parents to coach them on how they can support at home as well. With that, and do you have any questions for us?
I do. With the percentage for math, it seems like we're making a good stride there with 55%. What can we do to kind of, go along that path with reading? Because it's working with math. I don't know if they're getting extra instruction. I don't know if there's anything extra we can do with regard to reading, just to get it up,
Sure. One of the things that I want to focus on is those parent nights, specifically literacy night, to promote reading. As a first-generation Mexican-American, a lot of the stories that I learned growing up were by word of mouth, and I know that continues today. We want to shift the focus. We don't want to lose traditions, but we want to make sure that the parents have access to books and are reading with their children. We did invite at one of our coffee with the principal meetings, we invited the public library, so they came and shared all the different resources that they have to offer. So we want to continue that partnership to promote that literacy.
I have one more question, and this is not for you, but I think, do we still have like a library on the iPads or the tablets that they use, the students, of books?
Do you want me to take that? Okay, sorry. We have a couple of different options for the kiddos. So a lot of those apps that you're referencing were apps that we implemented during COVID when we were 100% remote. And I believe, and I'll look at Andy, we still have access to those. What I can't guarantee without checking first with principals is whether or not and at what rate we still push students to use those.
Right.
So I think it may vary by building, but I do know that those subscriptions we did keep up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All
So but I don't want that to be misleading and
No,
say that
right.
we're using it. Yeah.
Right.
So I don't know. You want to answer for Rollins?
Yeah, that's an option for our students to have. I think for me, I want our students to handle the book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
And they
looking
do.
to like minimize
Mhm.
screen time. We feel like they're getting so much screen time, so it's a great resource. It's great that they have it, but we really want to see books in the hands of
Balance.
all these
Mhm.
kids.
Yeah.
Yep. And
Understood.
those particular ones are called Raz Kids, Pebble Go, and IXL. They use them
Yeah.
for fun. So maybe we could pull a report on the use of those.
Sure.
And we could pull a report on the use of those by building, which would be good for this committee since we're spending money on it.
No, I remember my son specifically used IXL. That was one of the apps that he used daily. But that was a while ago. So.
Yep.
All right,
And
thank
they
you.
are using them in English and Spanish. I
Okay.
just got the word. So
Mhm.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next presentation is the lunch block proposal, and presenting on behalf of East High School is Kevin Martin, Associate Principal for School Improvement.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for the privilege of being able to speak with you today. I am Kevin Martin. I'm one of the associate principals, the associate principal for school improvement at East High. And this evening, I'm going to be speaking to you about our lunch blocks at the high school because we've got some exciting things going on as we transition to a block schedule for the 24-25 school year. So as we began planning for the block schedule, we started to have some conversations about what courses would fit well in that time period that we had opposite student lunches. Next year, our students are going to have 42-minute lunches, either preceded by or followed by a 6-minute passing period, and then a 42-minute period. And over the course of those conversations, we determined the following courses could fit well in that time. Reading, which is going to be offered both during the 42-minute period as well as during the 90-minute period, depending on each student's individual needs. We're going to be expanding our Math Boost program. E-learning for credit recovery is going to continue and will fit nicely in that time period. And then computer literacy is a new elective course that I'll be telling you about, as well as some additional time for our AP chemistry and AP biology students. And then what we're really excited about is the college and career exploration class, and some things like ACT preparation, some mental health supports we're going to build in for students, and some opportunities for members of the community and the business community in Aurora to come in and speak to our students. One thing to note is that all of our seniors that are on track, the plan for them is that they will be at the rec center for the full 90-minute period that they would have lunch in another course. And there's going to be all kinds of things that they're going to be able to do there during that time. So this is what our schedule is going to look like next year. If I can get it. This is what the bell schedule is going to look like. 4 90-minute blocks throughout the day. And then you can see that our lunch periods, which are going to run during second and third period, as well as the start of fourth period, are there. So for example, a student may have their lunch during 3A for 42 minutes from 12:06 to 12:48. They've got 6 minutes to get to their next class. And then during 3B, they'll be having their 42-minute class opposite lunch. So of the courses that we've determined our students are going to be participating in during this time, one of them is going to be reading. So we're going to take a look, and this process has already begun and is underway, determining what students' individual needs are. So if students, based off of their MAP scores, only require a reading intervention, for example, they will have their reading course in that 42-minute period. In the event that they'll need to take multiple interventions, for example, Math Boost as well as reading, those classes are going to be, they'll have their Math Boost during that 42-minute period, and then they'll have their reading during a 90-minute block. And as I stated before, we are going to continue offer e-learning for credit recovery during the school day in that 42-minute period. And that's currently offered at the high school as well in the traditional schedule that we've been following. Computer literacy is a course that I'm excited about. It's going to be geared toward our freshmen that do not require any other interventions. Freshmen are going to be taking this course, and then along the time period that they're in that class, they're going to have the opportunity to be certified in Microsoft Office suites, which is going to be something, a certification that they're going to be able to take in the community, put on job applications, on their resumes before the end of high school. So that's going to be particularly interesting, I think. And then our AP chemistry and our AP biology classes, in those AP science classes in particular, there's a very specific requirements for labs that need to be completed. So our students in those classes are going to have this additional time to do work for labs, to complete labs, in order to help better prepare them for those advanced placement exams in May. And then for college and career exploration, we're going to be doing a lot with this course. This summer, we've had a number of our teachers from a few different departments attend AVID training. AVID stands for Advancement via Individual Determination. It's a special program that was created by Mary Catherine Swanson in San Diego in 1980. There's a major focus in that class on teaching students the skills and strategies that they need to be successful, both while they're in high school in their courses, but also preparing them for success in college and in the workforce. So part of that is the strategies piece. They have something called Wicker strategies, which stands for writing, inquiry, collaboration, organization, and reading. And these are strategies that we've already had several teachers attend programs where they've been taught how to implement those. And then they're going to be applying those strategies across all kinds of different content areas. So next year is year 1 of AVID at the high school. In addition to that, we're going to be working on organizational skills. There's going to be some things from the AVID elective about researching colleges and careers that we're going to bring into that as well. The college and career exploration class is going to require 4 more teachers for us. Reason being is our idea is we've already had several teachers that have been trained in AVID from other areas, and we're going to try to move them over to the college and career exploration. And our teachers that have attended the training, they're hungry. They are ready to bring this to the high school. A lot of cool stuff happens in that class. And so there's definitely a good level of ownership among those teachers that have been trained. So they're excited.
I do have a question with
Yeah.
regard to that first section, computer literacy. You mentioned freshmen. Is that not open to the rest of the grades then, sophomore, junior, seniors, or is it only strictly freshmen?
If you could.
Okay, yeah, no problem. So computer literacy is new for freshmen, and it's going to offer one of those credential pieces for it. Other students may elect to take the equivalent of computer applications, which is a higher level. So it gets into some of the other areas of Microsoft Suite in a deeper level. And so that's a course that we've had now since I've been here. So that's still an elective for upperclassmen, but for this time period, we're just giving that to the kids, and then they won't have to take it at that level. They could always go to a more advanced level if computer technology is their true interest. Then they would be able to, following this, take a more advanced level class.
But the certification at this point is only available to the freshmen then.
Through computer literacy, but I believe historically it's also available through the class that is the equivalent of computer apps 1 and 2. So upperclassmen
Understood.
can take it. And pardon me, I'm having a memory moment, but we do call that class, we changed the name on computer apps 1 and 2 because we made it a little bit of a higher level, and I just can't think of what it is right now. But I do know they still have that, and I do know Mr. Anderson at the high school has been one of the teachers that was there. Sarah Brombrake as well. They were teaching that, and they also had the testing going on with Certiport so that the kids could take the Microsoft Office suite of assessments and some sort of digital literacy. This is more along the lines of the digital literacy, which is like an IC3 initial certification for younger kids, and then the older certification for Certiport offers is more along access. And so Word, PowerPoint are a little younger skills, but then when you get into Excel and really being able to manipulate Excel and Access, which is a database Microsoft, that's a little bit for the older kids. So I'm not sure they're going to get through all 4. I believe it's going to be divvied up. So this will be digital citizenship as well as offering it still as an elective to upperclassmen. And I'm sorry, I don't know the name of that class because I
No,
think
that's
we
fine.
changed it.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Within the college and career exploration class, we're also going to be offering ACT college preparation. As you know, in the spring, the state has determined that the ACT is going to be the test that all of our juniors are required to take. So our sophomores and our juniors are going to be getting some ACT college preparation, practice questions, test taking strategies, as well as some practice tests to prepare them for that. The Kids Matter organization is going to be coming into the college and career explorations class as well, popping in from time to time to talk about building healthy relationships and self-esteem, working on leadership skills with our students too. And that will be periodic in that course along the course of the school year. And then the career certification, we're going to have businesses and people from the community coming in to speak about careers and about the pathways toward those careers to these classes as well. Sort of along the lines of our Find a Future Wednesdays events that we've been having for the last couple of years at the high school that have been very successful. But this is more geared toward the students in that specific college and career exploration course.
Before we move on, can you tell me a little bit more about how we selected this teen mental health organization to come into our school? Like, what was the process for them to come into our school?
You want me to take
Sure,
that?
please.
Okay, I can take that because I was in the meetings with Principal Mitchell, who is out of town on vacation. That's why she's not joining us. So Kids Matter, and along with a couple of other community partners, actually, we were connected to them through the Dunham Fund. They were actually a part of probably an entire 6-month to 9-month process of the Dunham Fund's Community Partners application process for a competitive grant. And so one of the things that the Dunham Fund did is to have both East and West Aurora attend all those planning meetings. And so we attended those at the Aurora Country Club. We're exposed to all of the community partners in our immediate area in terms of those organizations that actually responded to the RFQ and were interested in partnering with our schools. And so we spent a good 2 months planning together for proposals to be submitted. 2 of our 3, and I say our, we were not on the name because you had to be a nonprofit to be eligible to participate or apply for this grant. But 2 of our 3 programs that we helped all of those nonprofits that were interested get together. They had to work together. That was part of it. To be able to provide a robust and comprehensive after-school program was the primary goal, and it was for grades K through 12. But this particular one was a little different in that it was during the day. And so they had to make cuts when they were deciding who to award the grants to and who not to. But we had done a pretty awesome, what we thought, plan with them. And they were very complimentary. They said perhaps next year they would be able to do that funding cycle. But right now we were able to scale it back so that we could fit it into the grant and still utilize some of the components that we were really excited about and that they had worked for months to plan. So both Kids Matter and the Aurora Fire Science Museum were the leads on that. We also were working with Best Start for teens, and they are through the Lutheran Children and Family Services, but they actually are working in the program that was Dunham funded after school at the Resilience Education Center for 7th through 10th graders. So we just decided when we had to narrow the scope of this to narrow it down to these 2 partners. And again, they had plans that were already laid out and worked on with the high school, and they fit perfectly for these 600 juniors, sophomores, and juniors into this AVIT program. And so that's kind of how we delineated. Also, and I'll pass back to you, one of the things that we stipulated, we shared this with our block scheduling planning team at the union, that the union put together on their side. And one of the things that they were very vocal about is giving credit hours to kids. And that was a key part of them saying that this would work because we know the traditional study hall doesn't always get paid attention to. So it's important to note that in making this a credit hour, we had to have a robust curriculum component. Part of that and how we were able to use the state code for college and career readiness to give a credit hour for this was to build in the career certificates component and the training that goes behind it. And Kids Matter actually provides them with a resume credential. It's in teen first aid. So our students will then be able to go out and put that on their resume, and they will be credentialed in the teen first aid, which is a mental health kind of a certificate program. So each of these components has a career certificate to it, so that it's helping us also when we give credit hours. Sorry, did I miss anything?
You did not. That was
Okay.
very thorough. This concludes the presentation. Thank you again for your time this evening.
And Board of Education, this is going down for obvious reasons because school is starting for action. And again, we were able to put these items in the grant, so it would not come out of local funds.
Thank you very much. That course, I think, was called Computer Operations and Programming with the Microsoft certification.
Thank you. Yes, and it does have the Microsoft, and all sophomores through seniors can sign up to take that as a regular elective. Yeah. Thanks. Thank you.
Yeah. Next up is our back to school fair backpack and supply kit proposal. Jalitza Martinez, Associate Superintendent for School Leadership, is presenting.
Thank you. Enclosed in the packet, you'll find the documentation for the back to school fair items. We're very excited to share, and you'll also have a flyer in front of you that our back to school fair will be August 10th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. It has been an amazing event for our families. Quite a fun place to find yourself in August. We're on our 3rd annual event. And in addition to keeping you informed about our fair, we're requesting tonight that you guys review and our request for backpacks and supply kits for our families attending the fair that have registered their students. So next slide. So in years past, we've purchased the book bags and the supply kits for pre-K through 12th graders. And we typically have run out of book bags, especially for the elementary students. So we did plan on ordering more this year to account for making sure that we're ensuring that all of our students that attend are prepared for the August start date. And then these are just a couple examples. So you'll see on the last slide the proposed cost of the book bags and supply kits. Any questions?
Did you already place the order?
Not yet. We're going to.
Because
If you guys approve
it
it.
gets a little crazy at this time of year. and
Yeah.
everything's-
We've been in contact with the companies. They're going to be able to fulfill the orders as long as we place them like tomorrow morning with your approval, and which is why it's going to action tonight.
Good job. That was a setup. No, we didn't.
Yeah.
All right. No other questions there. Then we're moving on.
Summer in review. And actually, I just wanted to take this opportunity before she begins her first formal report to say kudos to Dr. Engel, our new assistant superintendent for curriculum instruction and assessment. She has jumped in and in the last, 2 weeks and tried to master as much as she can to be prepared for this meeting. So she's done an excellent job. So I just want to publicly give her kudos for getting in and getting all of this information right away. She's very resourceful. So I will, without any further ado, pass it over to her for her first report.
Thank you so much. As you can see, District 131 has had summer programs for all of our grade bands of students. Our preschool program focused on kindergarten readiness for those 4-year-old students. We had dual language programming for all of our students in grades K through 3. All of our elementary and middle school summer programs focused on literacy and math. And then at the high school level, our program offered opportunities for students to get ahead in credits and opportunities to recover credits as well. Here you can see the number of students we had registered for the summer program and the number of students who participated. 85% of the students who were registered did participate in our summer program. Our preschool students focused on reading books to reinforce literacy. Our elementary students dove into Scholastic's Lit Camp program, where they focused on literacy skills, well-being, and engagement. In math, our students in elementary completed lessons to reinforce those important grade level learning skills, and they actually completed over 2,733 lessons in total. Our middle school students focused on ELA and math, also having completed a whopping 1,596 lessons in total. In addition, we offered 21st century camps where students gained valuable skills while exploring STEM ideas and building community. All the students in that program focused on reinforcing the key math and literacy skills needed for success. And in addition, the students had different experiences, ranging from flying drones to building solar system models to discussing careers with firefighters and exploring the fire truck. Our high school was able to work really hard to help 32 students graduate through the summer program. And just a reminder, tomorrow we have our summer graduation ceremony. So we're so proud of those students. And in addition, over 760 courses were completed this summer between students in health, driver's ed, and credit recovery. So we've done a lot of great work this summer. We have our extended school year program supporting our students with IEPs. These students had a variety of programming targeted to their needs, but they also had access to the EA Pause and sensory supports throughout the program. You can see that across all the levels, ESY included a focus on speech, social work, occupational therapy, and physical therapy. And then each grade band also focused on literacy, math, and the skills needed for success. For the third summer in a row, East Aurora has sponsored middle and high school students to attend various summer camps. In this, the district covered tuition and provided transportation. These students had the unique opportunity to travel and participate in experiences that aligned with their interests. Feedback from the student participants was amazing. They really emphasized the value of experiencing camp on these college campuses. They found the learning to be really challenging and very rewarding. And they talked about developing friendships and expanding skills beyond what they could have ever imagined. So they were so impressed and thankful for that opportunity. And that's my report. What questions can I answer?
I know one of the things that we were going to include, but summer school just ended last week as a final. And so I want to give Dr. Engel and her team, her new team, an opportunity to really speak and have a final debrief meeting with our coordinators. But I know, so when we think about what went well, I think you saw a lot of examples of what went well by the numbers, but what are some of the deltas or some of the things that we would want to change? I know one of the things since the pandemic, our summer school application numbers have gone down. I remember the day when I first got here, we used to have to cut and really narrow which, were the bubble kids going to come, were the kids who were a couple grade levels behind going to come. But since then, we have not gotten our enrollment back up. I think that honestly, after our discussions, that some of that has to do with us consolidating sites. And so it's a lot more convenient when our families can go to their neighborhood elementary school. But if you, as you are well aware, because you paid for all of this, we are now every summer doing wonderful construction projects that are making our schools very livable nowadays. And that's something we didn't have previously. But now with the HVAC projects or the upgrades to the gym floors and, all of those other things that we're able to do or you're doing for the district, it is making us still have to leverage which buildings we can use. And as we finish these programs and projects, we anticipate being able to move back to being able to use neighborhood sites, which would be a lot more friendly for families for getting their kids there in the summer. And then we could also do continue our after school programs or after summer academics fun programs. So that was the one delta that we came up with. Not that we could really change that right now, but that's a big one. And you can come back if there's more eye-opening things, because the board would be happy to hear that, because perhaps there's something we could buy or do or, change to help increase that around that. But that's where we are for now. Any other questions?
No, you answered them all.
No, you answered my question.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next up, we're going to talk about our partnership with Dr. Sandra Mercury, Educational Consultants, and Rita Guzman, Executive Director of Language and Acquisition and Early Learning, is presenting.
Good evening, board members, committee. For 2024 and 2025 projections, dual language, kindergarten through fourth grade, I'm super excited that we are hitting fourth grade now and soon to be all, we just got fifth grade and we're already working on curriculum and selecting all of those components. We have approximately 3,800 students in dual language currently right now, nearly 200 teachers, over 26 building administrators, and 14 elementary sites is what this proposal will cover to continue to provide professional development. We have a relationship with the Center for Applied Linguistics. That's basically what does the majority of our research. We really want to focus on professional development, on long-term professional development plans that exist, that is inclusive, focused, and intensive. Action plans for professional development are needs-based. Basically, it's on individual-based needs, basically where they're struggling, where they need additional professional development. And individual staff plans are aligned with the program plan. So wherever we see that a teacher is struggling or a particular building is struggling, or trends that we see throughout the district, or particularly different levels of implementation, we try to support in that area. Program staff partners with professional organizations. So we try to really basically follow any research that is current throughout the nation. We are proposing to continue to work with Dr. Sandra Mercuri, Educational Consultants, and her entire team. We have been very fortunate that many school districts around us have tried to tap into them, and they are booked with us. So that has been phenomenal. They worked with us this summer as well to provide some of the dual language in action and tons of professional development. So 40 multi-day visits from Dr. Sandra Mercuris and consultants. So it would be basically Dr. Vivian Pratt and Sandra Martinez that will be helping. Dr. Pratt will be helping with our administrators. She has tons of experience with school administration and district level, supporting our school administrators and looking more of a global aspect on implementation of dual language, and specifically on struggles and strategies. And Sandra Martinez really focuses and models lessons within the classroom to support teachers in their professional development and implementation of our key signature strategies. They do visits. We'll focus on instructional pedagogies and strategies through an administrative lens, modeling, collaborative teaching, and planning and coaching for critical dual language strategies, such as preview, review, PVR, cross-linguistic connections for us to be able to bridge that language and strategies, and obviously a huge focus on oracy, the way we want our students to be able to speak and build their vocabulary. As we spoke earlier regarding the pandemic, we really had to shift the way that we provide professional development in the sense of the consultants coming in and providing professional development within those four walls of that classroom, compared to a teacher coming to professional development and just listening to someone speak, but us actually modeling it. A service plan, as you guys can see, that's a little bit about Sandra Martinez, and that's actually one of our classrooms, and Dr. Vivian Pratt, and that is also one of our planning sessions where we try to support them where they're at. Thank you.
Question.
Yes.
I know it's been a few years now that we've had this individual consultant in our district. And I'm assuming it's kind of the same format as we going through the training. As I see on your proposal here, the quote, I see walkthroughs and coaching. There's a few dates, but I only see group here for administrators. How I know we did already K through third, we're going into fourth. How are we addressing that in fourth grade, or is it only for fourth grade and administrators? I'm assuming administrators have already seen this in the previous training. Or is this like, how are we differentiating now since we've used this consultant for a few years now?
Differentiation, the focus would be fourth grade and supporting fourth grade and the skills necessary in fourth grade. As we build a little bit more basically language demand within the delivery of instruction, I would say our school administrators really need the support in the sense of really converting into instructional leaders to be able to support the classroom teachers.
Okay. And then one last question. When do you think, or maybe if possible, when could this be something that our district lead the way, if possible, as our language acquisition? Is there a way that maybe one day we'll be ready for that? Are we not there yet?
Yeah, no, we haven't even hit all our grade levels. So this is our first rip through fourth, and then next year will be our first trip through fifth. And I think at that point in time, at least our elementary will have seen at least 1 year how it's going, and the younger, obviously earlier grade levels, that will be multiple years. So like by the time we finish fifth, kinder could stand on their own as far as what the principals are expecting to see in that grade. But I would definitely say as we move up to grades that have never had this approach and looking at it from a lens of what is appropriate for fourth, not wanting them to say, oh, you learned really good kinder through second, but now look at fourth and fifth when it's a completely different, even the language level of type of language and type of instruction would be different for the older intermediate kids. So I think certainly after at least they've gotten 1 year through those brand new grade levels, then I feel confident that they would be able to.
Yeah, and we want to provide the same support that we provided for kinder to third grade to fourth grade and fifth grade. And then believe me, we're still doing our part as well. We continue to model within the classrooms, and there's a whole rotation on how we do it, but we just wanted the experts to be able to provide that. And then obviously us as expert languages to be able to provide support throughout as well and monitor that. Thank you.
I'm good with the proposal. I think it adds value and it helps our staff to be prepared for the next year. So I'm in support of it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Guzman.
Okay, so I am going to just briefly say, as we're transitioning our admin team, and I know that it's been a bigger uphill lift for Dr. Engel, who is new to the system. But before I pass this over to Ms. Martinez, I will share that this too has been a lift for her. She's familiar with the district, and when she was a building principal, she did all of these components that she's going to talk about now in a minute very well. The years that she was at Allen, and actually the years that she went through doing this process. I think she'll be great in guiding her team to take our schools in status through this process, because that was the year that she took our largest elementary school off of the state list. So without any further ado, thank you for your willingness to transition into this big role and share the expertise that you did when you were in that seat, albeit quickly. You learn fast. So we hope that you will spread all of that to our other schools. So I'll pass it over to you to talk about why the board is approving these.
Perfect. Enclosed, you'll find the school improvement plans for 3 of our comprehensive schools that require your approval. These plans will also be submitted and uploaded to the state as is required as being a in status school. They just finished completing their planning year. Once you are labeled as comprehensive, there's a 4-year cycle that the schools go through. The first year is the planning year, and they've completed that working with the stakeholders and their teams for the needs assessment and the root cause analysis. And so now we're moving into year 1 of implementation. And so they're working with their SLTs in the summer to address those areas of need, make sure that their plans reflect this. And I want you to note that the plans are living and breathing documents, and they should be revisited frequently by these teams so that they can make adjustments accordingly. Based on what they're seeing in the building and what they're seeing with their data and the data analysis that they're going to be diving into. And so, again, we are making sure that we are following the steps that we have to. We want to make sure that you guys are aware that while they were designated as comprehensive, we are still working very hard to make sure that they come off of that status, and then they're following the continuous school improvement planning process. And that includes looking at their SMART goals, their worthy targets, their action steps, their tasks, and just really working with the principals. And we'll be in the future identifying their learning partners, the best practices that they're going to be using, and then just watching them implement and monitor the areas that they've identified as needs, and monitoring the practices closely. So we will take these SIP plans to action at the next board meeting for your approval. And we just look forward to working with these schools to making sure that all the students are getting what they need.
I just had a question on the monitoring aspect
Yes.
of this. Like how often are these plans reviewed to see how they're working and when they're making adjustments and all that? How is that, a weekly, daily, monthly?
It can be weekly, but I think most of our schools are doing it every other week, and those that are maybe not on the list are doing it once a month with their SLTs, but definitely our schools that are comprehensive are doing this at least bi-weekly with their SLTs, just to continue monitoring the data that they have. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. And the last item in here is the enrollment and registration update as of July 8th, 2024. Currently, we have over 90% of our students registered for fall. If you go ahead, I think there is a pie chart. There you go. And then if you go back one, it just shows the registration for each of the buildings. So we're in a pretty good place for being right in the middle of summer. And that's all we've got today. So if nobody has anything else, this meeting is officially adjourned at 6:44 p.m. Thanks. Great job.